and allows the viewer to follow through with ease and understanding. Our equilibrium is shown through the first scene where the twins are being talked to by the psychiatric doctor. The storm starts when the twins do not get along with the new sister as they start to roll a joint and the sister doesn't approve. We have used binary opposition to portray character and meaning by having a good and bad character with the only outcome of death expectant by the end of the movie. This allows the audience to seek the cinematic representation of good versus evil, portraying the relationships between the two characters. It allows analysing the narrative structure of the short film, portraying embedded situations and social values of the mentally demented characters and the girl next door. This is also evident in the movie Black Swan, as Darren Aronofsky has made great use of the psychological narrative by creating two characters from Nina's personality, one being a good side and one being the evil, which causes friction within the movie and a great mass of stress on the good side of Nina's personality, as she has to battle between the two. We have chosen to construct our short movie in chronological order to portray the idea of plan and make the viewer feel in the same mind frame as a good character, the victim, as she has no idea what happened. This adds to the enigma factor of the movie and creates a sense of not knowing, so the ending of the movie is much of a shocker to the audience as it is to the character. We have portrayed this through her innocent smile and her kind character. Our short movie has an open ending as we don't know what happens to the character after the fire.
What do you want?
This also allows the audience
Let
to
me go!
stay on the edge of their seats as they want to know more about what happened to the girl. This is used in the movie Black Swan as it illustrates a sense of not knowing and what happened to Nina by the end of the movie and how she finished her performance while battling with the devil inside of her at the same time. Finally, she falls back to complete her performance, and angelic white lights begin to appear from Nina's point of view shot, looking into the stage lights. This creates a very death-like feel, illustrating that she may have died and is in a better place now. We have used the same narrative as we've used the fire scene to capture the whole of the screen so the audience doesn't know what's happened to the girl afterwards. The characters in our film are very typical of the horror genre in terms of behaviour. We have made sure we have represented the contrast of the two twins and the normal teenage character. The twins are demented and arrogant, and so we represent this through the stereotypes of the interesting body language. We have also incorporated various concepts to contrast the bitter and spiteful facial expressions of the twins as opposed to the joyous radiance or the good character. The body language of the characters also allowed for genre codes and conventions to flow through, as the twins were very mean and had uninterested facial expressions, while Karen was very welcoming and pleasant with her facial expressions. When coming up with costume, we made sure the personas of the twins were represented by their baggy white t-shirts used in the opening sequence of the movie. It allowed the idea of mental disorder to shine through an angelic colour. In contrast, the victim of the movie was dressed in a very typical teenage attire, as it allowed normality within the character as opposed to the dementia of the twins. An example being the scene when the twins are in the psychiatric ward, when being told by a doctor that they'll be placed in a new home with a loving family. Another example being when Kat is reading a magazine dressed in a very girly, trendy way. A similar contrast is also found in the movie Black Swan. The good persona is dressed in angelic pinks and whites, while the evil, demented persona is pretty much covered in black costumes and clothing. The storyline is very typical of the thriller genre, as we have used typical codes and conventions found in thriller movies. An example being the antagonists in the movie, who are evil and are the main source of terror and fear. Having a powerless victim and a mentally deranged antagonist allows for typical codes and conventions to flow through. This is portrayed on the scene when the family are having dinner and the twins start to swear at Kat for not approving of their smoking. Another convention used in our short movie is the psychiatric doctor, as it is a typical ingredient in horror movies. allowing the narrative to intensify and endure the idea of not knowing what the antagonists of the movie are capable of. Film language, cinematography. We have made use of cinematography as we have constructed our movie. We have incorporated close-ups to portray the emotion of the character. This allowed to portray typical codes of a thriller movie as it represents fear and shock, allowing to set the tone of tension and thriller and a thriller ambience of the movie. An example being when Kat is tied to the chair and she has no clue what's going on. The shock on her face creates tension and allows the audience to keep watching. We have also used long shots to portray locations used in the movie. An example being the beginning of the movie where the use of long shots allowed to represent the darkroom as a psychiatric ward. The darkness allowed to elude and set the tone of the fear of the movie. POV. We have made use of point-of-view shots to add to the typical genre of thriller movies, as it intensifies the situation and makes a very realistic feel for the viewers, allowing them to be in the character's shoes. We have used handheld shots to create a similar effect. An example being when the twins are putting chloroform on a cloth and creep behind Kat while she's watching a horror movie. Sound. The dialogue was used to represent personality and the current situation. An example being when the family are around the dinner table and the twins often replied back to the victim in foul language, representing their arrogant and evil personas. The beginning of the movie, where the doctor was explaining to the twins their situation and where they came from. We also included various diegetic and non-diegetic sounds to construct our horror movie. We have used diegetic sounds of loud bangs in the scene, when allowed to intensify the situation, and also gave a purpose for the tired victim to wake up in a conventional thriller way. We added non-diegetic sounds of heartbeats. Editing. Our editing is very typical of horror movies, as we have used jump shots to create drama to build substantial amount of tension. We have also created scenes to look out of focus to make the audience feel unstable and unbalanced. This again is used in a scene where Kat is watching a horror movie and the twins are creeping up on her. Mise-en-scène. The mise-en-scène used in our movie allowed to represent the typical codes and conventions of a horror movie. The props used in our movie include petrol, a chair, rope and chloroform. All of these are very typical in a thriller movie. Our movie was set in an orphan home, and we portrayed this through the dim lighting of the room. This again allowed to represent the typical genre of thriller, as the psychological problems all occur here. We also use the location of a home, We also use the location of a home, a very homely and happy place, and where all the danger occurs. This is shown at the dinner table and when Kat is watching a movie. This allowed to set the tone of the whole movie and to build a foundation of tension.